Is suffering really optional?
That's a great question. For Suzan Hart, who is our guest today on Life's Inside Track.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.
And it is amazing that we get to come together to share techniques, thoughts, tips, tools that we all need. We all deserve. You, I, everyone. So we get to turn our house into home, our families thrive, and we live the best life possible.
Yay!
I know, right? And today with Suzan Hart, Mastery Mindset Mentor, we're gonna unpack and consider, is suffering really a choice?
Yetta, it is. Now, I got to say to you, I know.
You're hurting me.
I know. The first time I heard it, I was sitting in a conference.
When people do things to you, you suffer. You can't choose that.
I know, but you see, sometimes we have a choice, but we don't know it's a choice.
Oh.
So the first time I heard it, I was sitting in a conference in a full-blown pity party. I mastered a pity party. I could have had friends invited to this party. It was so bad or so good. And I heard these words, and I was just like, no, not at all. However, sometimes we make choices and we don't actually know it's a choice.
So you're talking about the conscious decision versus the unconscious decision of suffering.
Right.
So when we suffer, like pain and things that happen.
It's a reaction. It's a reaction to something that's going on.
So pain's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But suffering's optional.
Yes. So
okay, we need to unpack that a little bit.
I know. So life comes down our street, knocks us over. We aren't expecting it. And the first response or reaction is to suffer.
Like somebody rear ends my car and I have to spend 1.5 years getting doctor care and chiropractic care and osteopathic care, and I'm suffering.
Right. So the first emotional response is to suffer. We get angry. We blame people.
Yeah, that.
We do all that.
They didn't have to hit me,
Right.
I was stopped.
Ever notice that someone can't make you feel a certain way? You've said it, right?
Yeah,
I've said it. You've said it. So the reality is someone can't make us suffer. However, suffering is the reaction to when things don't go the way we want it.
Right.
So the question I had, well, what do you do? If it's a choice, what will allow me to actually get into a place where I can make the choice? What I came to realize was I suffer when I don't want to accept what's going on.
Wait, so let's use my car accident example.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't cause that accident.
No.
I was parked well.
Right.
At the stoplight.
Right.
Like you're supposed to do.
Minding your own business.
Minding my own business. And then somebody, boom. And it was on Valentine's Day.
Right.
What is that?
So we get upset because we don't want this thing to be happening.
Right.
However, it's happened.
Yes.
Simple.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't change that.
You can't change
You can't change it.
That you ran into your back end.
So what I learned is my access to stop my suffering is not my denial and upset and why did this happen to me. It's to go, okay, this is where it's at. This is the cards I've been dealt in this moment. This is the situation. The reality is I can't change what happens.
Correct.
But I can change how I respond to what happens.
Okay.
And that's the access when we stop. We get to shift out of suffering. Because it's when I don't want to accept and I want to respond in a way that has me feel helpless, has me feel like the victim, has me feel pain. That's when I'm in suffering. When I'm able to say, okay, so this is what's happening. This is the cards I've been dealt. This is my reality. Now what? I actually stop that pain. It doesn't go away instantly, but I give myself access to something else.
What is the definition of suffering versus, say, having an upset? Because I think for me and for many people, it has often felt like one and the same. It's like, how do you separate them?
I think what I've come to, Yetta, is upset is the initial response, right? The initial reaction. I'm upset, I'm surprised, and whatever. Suffering is the prolonging of it. When I'm I'm talking about it. I'm complaining about it. I'm having the party.
The pity party.
The pity party.
Not the nice party.
Yeah,
where I have my friends
I'm
blood.
calling my friends. Do you know what happened to me? And I'm reliving it and replaying it
Over
and replaying
over
it.
again.
And the more I replay it, the more those emotions get activated. The more I replay it, the more people validate those emotions. So they get expanded. You know, so we focus on getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
It expands, baby.
Right. Absolutely. That's when we get into that suffering because we're beyond the incident. We're taking the incident into our future, into the next place we go, into the next encounter we have. I take it over here.
So-
Into every conversation.
Yeah.
Or many conversations.
You know, Yetta's pretty much 100% recovered from that incident. But there are people that carry forward into their future limitations caused by something.
An
Absolutely.
incident.
So notice this. Have you noticed that there's people who have situations happen and they have limitations and some of them excel, grow, and
Yeah.
become like they have these profound lives. And
Yeah.
then there's the other person who gets stuck right there
Mm-hmm.
and all they talk about is what they can't do, how this happened, what it took away from them, all these things, because their focus or perspective is still stuck in the
So they
cycle.
got focused on what got taken away,
Right.
not on what remains.
What remains
And what I can do with
and what I
remains.
can do. And that is, and the first step to being able to see more and see different is, can I just accept where I am right now? And sometimes that's for me is tears. It's mourning what was. It's a process. But when I get to be able to accept it and sit in it and go, okay, so this is where I'm at, then I have access to what you're talking about.
So you accept the impact.
Mhm.
You're not denying the medical bills or the rehabilitation or whatever's required. You're not denying the things that must take place to get through
Right.
it. You're not denying that it may have lingering implications.
Right.
You're just not living and reliving and suffering.
That, and also focusing on what was. Do you know, like before this, before this happened, I used to do this. That's so painful because you're not looking forward.
That's suffering.
Yeah, you're not, exactly. You're not looking forward. You're looking back and you're not creating anything. So you're actually dragging your past right into your present.
And it's something you can't change.
Right.
So suffering, prolonged suffering. I mean, there is suffering where you initially had the accident. There's pain in the body, whatever, right? It's currently going on.
So
But how long?
you just made a distinction
Mhm.
though. So I could have pain and discomfort in my body. That's a real thing. But if I continuously focus on that pain in my body here,
In your brain.
in my mind, and I talk about it, I complain about it, it is going to expand and it's going to become my focus. But if
Right.
I decide, okay, this is where I'm at, I'm going to be uncomfortable, and I start focusing on possibility or what's next, my focus changes. Therefore, the suffering dissipates.
So really what Suzanne is saying, I think if I'm listening well, is once I start thinking about possibilities rather than stuck in what was, I actually get access to release the suffering.
Absolutely. And your access is to actually be in that place for the moment. And oftentimes it's mourning.
Right.
Great. Well, we're grateful to be your partners moving forward on this journey of developing wealth, wisdom, and worth.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward